Hello, beautiful peasants, and welcome in to Tuesday. I really want to say Wednesday for some reason because of Empress's comment. I read that I'd say Tuesday, but I definitely read that as Wednesday for some reason. Anyway, how are y'all doing today? Got a lot planned. We got 2 models. Pretty excited about that. So we're working on the Lizardfolk monk and a Tavern keeper, which is a fortunate coincidence. It's gonna be more kind of like Viking themed, but I'm very, very excited about it. He's gonna have a great axe and a big old mug of ale, so it'll be a fun time. I'm glad y'all are doing good today. Good. My mod squad has been on the struggle bus. Oh my goodness. More good vibes from my mods. I'm so sorry, guys. Luckily, it's been pretty chill in the tavern, so not a whole lot of moderating needing to be done, so that's okay. But yeah, today will be a bit of a longer stream. We've had some, shorter ones recently, like an hour and a half, 2.5 hours. Today, I imagine will be closer to 3 because we'll be doing 2 Tavern Keeper's crafts. And for anyone that is new, that just means like the main meat and potatoes of the stream where I work on a character. I have this base mesh prepped. I was doing that before the stream started. So yeah. Empress says, end of the month coming up, and I'm ready to try and really pop as many projects as possible before October hits and people start presenting challenges. I like it. I like it. Reaper says, I arted yesterday. Good. I'm glad that you still have time for that. But not before having an emotional crisis. Yeah. If it makes you feel any better, you're not alone. I know Aloha and Seder are going through it right now. Seder, I think, has just like adulty problems going on. I'm too afraid to ask what happened to the leak in his ceiling still. But I think Aloha's having a good little meltdown somewhere. Aloha's here, I'm sure, looking in the background. Hi, Aloha. But you guys will be okay. Cooler weather is coming. Good vibes are coming. Yes, it'll be okay. And for now, just ignore your problems. Kick back, grab a little drink, a little snack, hang out at the tavern while I sculpt a lizard kung fu master, essentially. At least that's what I'm gonna be doing. So weird. Over here, my housemates, they're both military, and they got orders, and they are gone for the foreseeable future. So it's just Ricky and I here. Very odd. Very odd. We don't know when they're coming back. Maybe next month, maybe next year. We don't know. Which is part of the whole reason of why we moved out here and why we have housemates in the first place, is they were like, hey, we're military, we're gone every now and then. It's just kind of nice to have people built into the house, essentially. That is us. And we also want to come out to Tennessee really bad. So it was like a you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours situation. They didn't quite anticipate us coming in this handy because they do have a dog and stuff we need to take care of. So it works out. It works out. It's lizard time. I think that's all today. I'm trying to think. I am toying with the idea. No, it's not important right now. But for now, I actually do have a proper menu of things that you can buy at the Taverb via SuperChat. That's in the description. It's stuff you guys regulars already know about, but I finally have it written out. It's all in American US dollar currency, but I'm not super picky. If your conversion rate is slightly off, I'm not going to be like, where are my 20 cents? I'm not concerned about it. But that way you guys can know exactly what's on the table, and that menu changes every day based on what I'm on the mood for. So that way we don't have to worry about you guys hoping is it like a chaos wheel day or not. You can find out just by looking in the description of the video every day. I think that's it. Yeah. All right. Well, without further ado, let's move on to Tavern Keeper's Craft. If you haven't already, please like the stream. It definitely helps. I read about that finally, because I always said that, because every YouTuber says that, and I'm like, does it actually do anything? It really does, and I now know. Empress says, oh yay, this reminds me of the dice menu you used to have. Yeah, way back, absolutely. I like that tucked in the description though, that way it's not as, I don't know, in your face. That was way before your time, Empress, you were correct. Alright, let's move right along. Hello and welcome again to the Tavern Keeper's Craft. This is Tavern Keeper's Craft Part 1 of the day because it is 2 for Tuesday. So ideally we'll work on 2 full characters today. I say ideally because it depends. It just depends. Here's what we're working on today. I use this software called Eagle to grab references. I highly recommend it. I finally actually paid for it. It's $30 for a lifetime, so I'm like, I can do that. All right, here's a request from Dire Squirrel. Short and sweet. They asked for, I'd love to see a Lizardfolk monk in robes. So that's what we're doing. I grabbed some references that I liked. There's quite a spread here. You can kind of tell of different vibes. This one's my favorite vibe-wise, but it's definitely pushing more Dragonborn than Lizard. So if you're wondering, like, well, what the heck is a Lizardborn? Essentially, it's going to be a Dragonborn, but looking more gecko-like. A little less intimidating. A little more on the kobold side. I really like this one. I can't really tell what's going on right here. Like, I understand the sleeves. I really like this. I can't. Anyway, I'm gonna try to follow this one the closest, but as I get confused about the readability, like right here, it kind of looks like a breastplate. It's not. Anyway, I'll grab other elements. Ooh, I do like this 2-piece thing going on. That's pretty cool. So yeah, that's what we're doing first. And first says, ooh, a clean request. Are we hand-to-hand monk? Bow staff? 3-section stuff? You know, I have no idea. I'll probably just stick a staff on him somewhere at the end. Wait, weapon is least important, I know. Not necessarily. It's a fair question. Alrighty, let's go ahead and throw this over here, put a little stamp with Shift S, and now I can move this character over and we can start working on it. Alright. Let's start with the feet for once. I never do that. I'm gonna go through my asset library here, and our first stage here pretty much is like this kit bashing, where I go through all these assets I've made for previous characters, and I see if there's anything that fits what I'm working on today. Sometimes I have a lot of pieces that work, sometimes I have 0. So the first thing I notice here is I have these like little ankle wrappings or wrist. I like them a lot, but they have these metal buckles on them. And like if you're playing like a super strict monk, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to have any metal components. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete those buckles. I'm able to do that because the buckles are separate polygroups from the rest of it. I'm also going to poly paint as I go. So let's get these roughly into place. I really don't care how well they fit right now because I might not even keep them. The beauty of kit bashing is that you can really like try it. It's literally like dress up. I'm dressing up my base mesh here, kind of seeing what I like. Sometimes I will bring in an asset that I like, but it's such an important centerpiece of the model, and you know, my skills improve over time, that I'll just redo it even though I already have a placeholder, so to speak. Alright, our poly paint is not doing its thing. Come on. There we go. So we're starting off with some wrappings, very simple. And then next, we're gonna go with like a loose pant situation right above the knee. I like to do it for digitigrade legs, otherwise it looks quite ridiculous in my opinion. Because from the front it'll look okay, but then you go to the side here and you got all this going on, and then the pants look quite odd. There we are. Hey Steamworks, welcome in. How have you been? We're working on a Lizardfolk monk today. Alright, anything else I want to grab here? Any shorts I've got? I don't think so. Excuse me. I don't want anything that's too metal or too heavy, because again, that defeats the whole monk aspect. Alright, time to delete that asset library I've opened. I'm pretty sure I don't need anything from the headgear situation. I'm not going to give him a wig or anything like that, or an eye patch, so we can go ahead and clear this one pretty quickly. And then last but not least, we'll look at these different tops. Yeah, I do have a few that I really like to use for monks. This is one of my favorites. It gets a lot of, what's the word? Use? There's a cooler word it's going to use there. Anyway, as you can see the way that it's polygrouped, I can really easily iterate and change this up. So I like using this one a lot. Let's go ahead and bring that in. We'll have to de-boob it because we're working on a lizard. There we go. I even named it Monk Bodice. I've used this one so many times. But by the time that you're done fitting it to your character and adding any little small details, it truly like looks like a brand new asset, which is my favorite. There we go. All right, that brings us to the end of our kit bashing phase. That was a pretty quick one today. Let's go ahead and make this fit a touch better. You don't have to get too crazy with the deboobing it. You really just have to smooth that mesh. And I'm able to do that so easily because I work so low poly. Otherwise, that'd be quite a pain. I don't think I'm gonna want this belt piece here visible quite yet. We'll bring that in later and kind of see the way that it fits our lizard dude here. There we are. Empress says, question, do you prefer move or move topological? When do you use one over the other? I'm thinking about docking the move topological, but not sure if it'd be a waste of canvas, estate, etc. I have move over here, and I have move topological over here. You use move topological when you have multiple elements or polygroups within a subtool, and you would like to move them around. So if I want to move this entire vest thing, I'd use move. But if I want to move just the trim, which I can tell is a separate polygroup because of the different color here, then I use move topological. Of course, it's not grabbing it. Grab so I can do my demo. Please. There, see? So I have it masked right now, but you can see move topological. You grab that while move will not. So your question is, they're both important. It's not a waste of space. And don't be afraid of putting stuff on your UI and customizing it and not using it very much. It's better to put it on there to see if you ever use it than the other way around, because it's so easy to add stuff and then remove it anyway. But if you never add it, you'll never use it. Like all of these brushes right here, these are all for cloth simulation, and y'all know I never freaking use that. But I hope that one day I'll use it more, so I have it docked here just in case. Good question though. Empress says, okay. Good question. Alright, I like how that's fitting. And I really would like to add some sort of asymmetrical element here. But first we should probably put some pants on him. Alright, so to create shorts, what you're going to do is come to this base, the body here. We're going to select just the body, and then we're going to use our mask pen brush. Hold Command and click and drag a square just like this. That's about right. And then next you're going to go to Extract. Make sure you're at 0 thickness, and click Accept. Your topology is going to be a little funky and a little ugly, and it's going to be completely like hollow essentially, because this mesh doesn't actually exist, but less poly is less problems. I zero mesh by half to make the topology less. Yeah, that is the proper term. There we go. And then we're going to lower this a bit here and use my move brush to kind of fit it to the body a little better. All right, we're looking more monk-esque. Not quite there yet. I'm actually gonna go ahead and add a staff sooner than later because this is such a simple character that the details are gonna be really important. So let's go ahead and grab a staff from my asset library. I'm certain I have one that will fit well. Ooh, I really like this one. But I think this character would be a little more plain. I'm gonna go with something that's just more like a simple wood staff, and I can use the same wrappings that I have on his wrists and repurpose them. Yeah, let's bring that in. That's gonna fit this character best. All right, so we have a staff. We're gonna make it really tall. There we go. And then I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate these wrappings that we grabbed. Going to isolate just one. We're going to change it to more of like a muslin color. And then we'll add some wrappings onto the staff as well, just for a bit of continuity and a little more visual interest. Will this monk have tail packs? I didn't think about it, but I like the idea of it. Perhaps. Alright, we have some wrappings at the top and the bottom. And then I want to add some sort of like tassel or hanging thing. So I'm going to go ahead and use my curved tube brush. I'm going to go to picker, make sure once Z is selected. We're going to click and drag and just have like a little swing here. Something kind of thin though. Thin, please. Thank you. There's one. We'll do a second one here. And then on the tail end of these, I'm going to put some sort of ornament. Probably just like a little bauble. I can just even go to my insert sphere and that'll be just fine. So by default, the insert sphere kind of like just sticks to the end of it, but I actually want it to be inset a bit. So I'll go to brush, depth, and then lower this little marker here. Now click and drag. All right, we have two little baubles. I quite like that. Just like a little something. And if I want to, I can actually take this sphere and continue it up. And instead, now this little string right here is actually like a little beaded decoration. That's a nice little thing, I think. Yeah. People ask all the time, like, how to use references and stuff, and this is how. I just look at stuff and I think, that needs a little bit more interest, and I just make it more interesting. I had a little something. You don't have to overthink it. There we go. Okay, that's quite saturated, and I don't think the red's very nice, so let's go with more of an orange. Ah, yes, that's nice. But will it print? Yes, it will 3D print. And then I can actually take this little bauble thing that I made, I can duplicate it, and I can start adding this really small, simple detail other places on the robe to start bringing things together. I can even mirror and weld this. There we go. Kind of make a new shape here. Just like a little bit of interesting beading. There we go. All right, let's make these shorts a more interesting shape because my goodness, they're quite boring. So what we're going to do is we're going to mask the bottom and the top just so it doesn't get away from me. And I'm gonna use my inflate brush and really just be super heavy-handed with it. Just a lot of inflate. And then now I can lower this. And now we have a much more like monk-like baggy short. I might make his thigh bone, like his femur bone, a bit longer to better accentuate the design I'm creating here. Sometimes I think my students and artists get a little hung up on like, oh, what's correct? And I'm like, just do what looks good. Rule of cool. You gotta know the rules before you break them and blah, blah, blah. But seriously, for this specific design, I'm like, man, it'd be nice if his thigh bone was just longer so I could show off these fun baggy shorts. So I'm just gonna make them longer. It really can be that simple. I am going to insert an edge loop here to bring the hole a little closer. I mean, I could also just do close holes. How do I want to handle that? Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I can just do it that way. And then what I can do further is I can mask and polygroup those if I need to have more control over those spots. Yeah, that's just fine. Okay. Absolutely. Oh, Empress is chatty today. I love it. I got a little friend in the chat. We're gonna lower this tunic here. So when I put a belt on it, you're gonna see it below and above. I actually haven't done that variation with this specific tunic yet. I don't even know what to call this. tunic robe thing. There we go. I'm gonna turn on transparency to make sure we're not getting too far away from the body. But remember, the body always wins, which is funny because I just changed his entire like femur bone match the aesthetic. You know what I mean. Empress says, there's so much focus on the technical when you ask for direction. Optimize this and this to follow this rule. I know, right? And it's funny because a lot of it, oh, it's just so unnecessary. It's like they'll give you like 50 steps to do one simple thing to do it the correct way. And I'm like, okay, what if I'm just trying it out, you know? I hear ya. Empress, exactly. Empress says most people don't care for that stuff. They just want to look cool. Exactly. And I would say, honestly, looking cool in the beginning is the most important step, which I know is counterintuitive because like, oh, learning proper construction, you don't want to learn bad habits. Listen, if you're so concerned about doing things correctly that you don't create anything at all, you lost the whole point. You lost the point. And at the end of the day, we're artists to make cool stuff, right? Not to make the most perfectly optimized box, you know? I mean, listen, if that's your jam, that's great. Love that for you. But for the rest of us, I think we're trying to have some fun. I'm going to extrude this section here, this poly group, to have like a little section that's kind of like grabbing his little foot. See? So I now have like a little wrap right here. Here's the before, here's the after. And then even better, what I can do is I can actually crease that line, because now when I divide, I'm going to kind of lose some of it. But I want to make sure that this line right here is the most important part of the short, because it's what's maintaining the silhouette. So I can go ahead and crease that, and now as I subdivide, I don't have to worry about it disappearing. Very good. Alright, let's go ahead and add that belt that I hid earlier back in. Let's see if we can get this looking cool and interesting. Maybe I'll keep this little beaded detail and put it on the side. And I can add like some rope or something. There we are. Alright, it's coming out pretty quickly, isn't it? We're on a good start for our 2 for Tuesday. Absolutely. Empress says, I know it's been said before, but having an asset library is such a boon when you have a well-constructed piece. Absolutely, because I mean you can transform it to be unrecognizable. I hear ya. And honestly, some aspects of this are already kind of smushy and ugly. I've changed this enough to where it almost is warranting redoing it again. Oh, new sub. Thank you, Andrew. If you're watching right now, don't be shy if you have any questions. Please let me know. My current friendo in the chat, Empress, is she's a paying like mentorship student of mine, but that doesn't mean you have to pay to ask questions. There we go. You know, it's funny because it's always the people that are the sweetest that are worried about asking stupid questions. And it's always the a-holes that are like, when are you gonna do this? How are you gonna do this? And I'm like, that's why I'm always trying to encourage like the lurkers. I'm like, if you have a question, don't be shy. Just ask. No question is too basic, seriously. My students know that. Oh my god, the same student of mine, Empress has done this, will ask the exact same question. And I'm like, I encourage that. Can you imagine how crazy it would be if every time you asked a question, you were expected to remember the answer? The first time. That'd make you pretty much a genius if you could remember stuff the first time, every time. And if that's you, good for you. But for the rest of us, ask questions and then ask the same freaking question again, because learning is hard. I'm gonna go to auto groups, mass my polygroups to 100, and use my inflate brush so I can really easily change the size of some of these beads. There we go. Make that a little more interesting. I like it. Hey Loa, welcome in. Nice lizard. Thanks. Alright, I do want to add something cool to this pant. I want this to be really cool, Monk. What's going to make him cool? I want something asymmetrical detail. Just having one sleeve I think would be cool. Unnecessary. But I like something about that. I also want a better braided something here as well. Trying to think. How would I do that? Because I don't do that very often. Right now I'm thinking because, again, I have no problem sculpting something, but if I've done it before, I'd like to not do it again. Unless I have a better skill set. I have this bow right here, and I think I can repurpose this to look really cool. So here's this adorable bow. Obviously, it's gonna go right on his head. I don't hate that, but anyway, not that kind of model. I think if I remove the knot up here, or if I just make it smaller even, this would actually look really good. Yeah, check that out. I can mirror it to layer up with that little beaded detail I have going on anyway. Oh, heck yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got a plan here. So we're gonna move this up, and then I'm gonna show you guys a little trick here. Something I really like to do is take existing pieces, simply duplicate them, and then layer them up and resize them on the same model. You might need to poly paint them to get some, you know, difference in color, otherwise it's kind of hard to see. Perfect. And then I'll need to simplify this right here, just so I don't have any weird gaps and stuff underneath. There we go. That's way more interesting than I had before. That's what I see. Although I said I printed all my commissions and they came out great. Oh, good. Only had to redo one of them with a little bit of tweaking. Fantastic. I was surprised at how sturdy it is. I can bang on my table and everything like a monkey and it's fine still. That's the real test. That's awesome. I'm really happy to hear that. I'm also thrilled at how quickly you picked up 3D printing. Some people, you know, 3D printing, it's not just gonna like happen, you're gonna have problems. Even now, although like things are going great, love that, you're gonna have some troubleshooting to do with your 3D printer at some point. It's just part of having a 3D printer. It's a tool, it's gonna break, it's gonna be silly at times. I love that you're sticking with it. And you have a good attitude about it too. All right, excellent. I don't like the bottom half of this very much, but I don't think it's worth redoing and getting in a big fuss over it. So unless I'm going to replace it with something cooler, I need to just leave it. Womp womp. Anything else I want to grab from here? Oh, probably some little pouches and stuff. Let's grab these kind of like softer, rounded ones. Go with a light brown here. And I might even throw these on like a little strap on his back. Maybe not. Just trying things out. Oh, I like that. All right, let's make some sort of interesting tavern. Tail pouches. I'm thinking about it. I could reuse these wraps yet again. Getting a ridiculous amount of use out of these. Oh, that would be cool. And I can kind of throw them on the side. Let me fix the shape of this tail a little bit. It's a little small. There we go. Excellent. Now I can take these pouches, I can duplicate them. And let's isolate just one. Ooh, these little stitches are kind of annoying. No worry. There we are. Good morning, Duke. Hello, hello. Do you ever worry about your subtool count? Never. That won't ever bog down your computer unless it's the poly count that's gonna get you. A lot of good questions, Empress. I love it. Also, did my answer about the staff and the branches and the trunk thing, did all that make sense? Let me know if you have any questions. Oh, that's so funny. I might address, like, change the way that's all fitting together, but as of right now, I quite like it. There we go. Empress says I haven't even checked yet. You wound me. No, I'm joking. Just doing a really like rough sculpted on border. It's definitely not like a fancy way of doing it. I'm still just kind of trying things out. And the reason why it's weirdly thick like this is just for 3D printing reasons. There's no need to have this be pointlessly fragile. I'm gonna add a bit of a sharp fabric fold detail on the side, just so it looks a little more interesting. There we go, and then I'll find some sort of pattern to put on the front that I like. Sometimes I get lucky, I can type an ornament and I can just kind of, what's a lucky number? Let's go with 42. The answer to everything. Let's see if I like this. Yeah, I can work with this. If you want to lay a curve brush on nice and straight, click a point at the start, hold down Shift, and then it will snap to a straight line. How cool is that? Well, bam. I'm going to mask the borders here. And have it fairly inset. And just throw this detail on, kind of see how I like it. Yeah, nice bit of detail. I kind of want something like that on his shoulder. I'm not even sure how that would make sense. Just think that'd be cool. I also want his arms to be wrapped more. So we're going to take this piece here. I'm going to turn off symmetry. I'm going to isolate just one side and get the arms looking the way I want them to. Reaper is saying morn, like morning to do, and I read it as man. I'm like, what? There we go. Let's get that all situated. I like to avoid anything over the elbows or the wrists until it's post. Otherwise, when you rig it, it like rips through itself. It just drives me crazy. There you go, we'll mirror and weld that. And then we're gonna duplicate these. Isolate again. Again, the whole thing, just wrappings everywhere. And I'll probably just have one asymmetrical one over here on his bicep. Maybe that's where I'll finally put those that little beaded detail. Can't decide where I want to put those. There we are. Okay, I do like the beaded detail sitting on this bow here, so I'll leave that here. And I can do another version of it elsewhere. So it happens to line up almost exactly. Meant to be. I say as it starts to fight me. Stop, you're being so good. There we go. And this is an example of when I would use Move Topological Empress. Because I just want to move around a couple of these beads in details, but not all of them. Also an instance for using Inflate plus mass my polygroups to 100, so I can change the size of some of these. I think all of them need to be a touch smaller. Let's start there. There we go. Kind of looks a little silly. I don't know how I feel about that. I'll come back to that later. I don't know, it looks so cool in my head, and then I do it, and I'm like, crazy about that. Do we have any hard surface requests coming in soon? Honestly, not sure. I just looked at this week only. Hey, Otaka. Hello, hello. Watching from work, so won't be very active. Not a problem. I think I'm trying to make this idea work, and it's not working, so we're gonna just delete it. Let's take this one though. I'm hell bent on adding these little like beaded details, and it's gonna look cool, damn it. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, ugh. It's fine. You know what? I'm going to shoulder. This is a really common thing. A lot of my students, you got to iterate more. Don't get so attached to like, okay, I'm going to add this beaded detail like on the, belt here. And then you do it, you don't like it, and you get sad and you just give up. Just keep moving it around. You're going to find somewhere where it works. And if you don't, oh well, at least you had a little bit more practice moving stuff around. Trying to figure out what you like. So important. I've had students ask me before, like, it seems like everything you do just works. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. It's because I've been wrong a lot. Oh yeah, this is the answer. I figured it out. This is gonna look really cool. I'm gonna add like this little beaded shoulder piece thing. How cool that is. There we go. There's some like density of detail I was wanting. Hey monkey, welcome in. Hello, hello. I'm gonna add it, get it a little closer to the seam up here so it looks like it's actually, makes sense. Perfect. All right, we're a little past halfway for part 1 of Tavern Keeper's Craft. Reminder that it's Tuesday, so we have 2 of these. So I'm gonna start playing around with the bottom part of this tunic thing because I don't love it yet. Look at my references to see the shapes that they went for. None of them really have this shape. If I do that, it looks more feminine. I'm already kind of fighting that to make him not look so cute. I think I want this piece right here to stand out more. So I'm gonna grab this and use move with backface mask. We're gonna make it thicker and then a lot wider. There we go, that's kind of cool, having a different little detail there. And then, okay, yeah, so I'm thinking, stuff's happening. I'm pretty sure I don't like this bottom part at all. We're just gonna cut it off. Ooh, he has this really weird, like, high-waisted short now. I don't hate that. That's odd. It's kind of cool. Oh, it's totally different. This actually gives me more room to make these shorts more of a focal point, which is kind of what I was hoping for. Oh, shoot, they did ask for robes specifically. I'm really moving past that, away from that. That's okay. I can figure this out. I can make this work still. And robes can be a lot of different things. Alright, I don't know why my damn sander brush is inverted, so I'm going to click on B for brush palette and reset all brushes, and now it should work like normal. Yep, we're back to normal. Taverb music. I'm glad it's a vibe today. I'm going to use the interpolate function to do some work for me right here. So I'm going to do a crease. I'm going to do another one at the bottom and click number 8 on my keyboard and it'll fill it in for me. Wow, that was too much. Let's do it again, but we're going to adjust the stroke count from 10 to half that. Let's go for 5. Did they have a reference? Did they leave a reference? No, the request today was literally just a Lizardfolk and monk. The Lizardfolk and monk. A Lizardfolk monk in robes. That's it. Oh, that's nice. That's a nice bit of detail there. But I need it to read as clearly as possible, okay? So let's do a really big stripe there, another one here. Yeah. And I'll use my contrast slider to really push that. Here's the before, here's the after. That's cool. Heck yeah. Hello, it says Mia, if you were to create your own campaign, would you make it dark or more lighthearted like Monster Hunter? Super dark, as dark as possible. I'm currently playing Banishers, Ghost of New Eden, in between Crying from Clerics here, and it's fantastic. It'd be along those lines. The monkey said, yeah, did they leave reference? Because this looks awesome. I hate for it to not fit what they're looking for. Oh yeah, no, that'd be cool. This is also from Dire Squirrel. Dire Squirrel is so cool. Dire Squirrel has been supporting me for, oh goodness, long time. I could probably give them just about anything and they'd be happy with it. Also, I can do fun shorts and I can do robes over it too. So all I'd have to do to make this more robe-like is make this Taverb a bit wider, duplicate, and we're going to mirror this. Oh, the Taverb on the back looks weird because there's a tail. I forgot about that. Well, let's make an interesting choice here. What if I had like, you know, almost like the tail ends of like a tuxedo or something? I just want to try it out. Maybe I'll hate it, maybe I'll love it. I think that could actually be really cool. Let's add some stitching to these. Something simple. I has lots of Tritos. Oh my god, I love him. I spent way too much time in the circus area in Baldur's Gate. You know, I actually kind of rushed through Act 3. I really need to play the game again and take my time in Act 3. I wanted to know what the heck was going to happen, so damn it, I was going to find out, and I kind of rushed through the last part of it. But I did not rush the circus. I spent my damn time at the circus. Instead of having this little arm piece here, let's actually create a sleeve, and that will preserve more of this robe look. So we're gonna create a couple sleeves here and add a little bit more length, more fabric. My character design abilities are getting a lot better. Yeah, cool. I'm going to do close holes right here, and then we're going to extrude a large band on the end, because that looks very monk to me. I'm going to delete an edge loop here so it's even wider, and then extrude poly loop. Just like that. Subdivide a few times. Change the color scheme maybe a touch here so it just reads better. I don't want to get too crazy detailing this because I'm going to pose it and it's going to completely destroy the sleeves. Or I'll need to not destroy the sleeves, but gravity. I'm trying to say that the pose is going to change the way the sleeves look because of gravity. So I don't want to get too crazy, spending too much time on these if I'm just going to change them anyway. There we are. Which is making these wraps right here look a little busy. So instead we're going to come back down to where we were before to just the single. See, I'm telling you, don't get too attached in one part of your design. Keep it moving. And Princess, seeing you did the robe version, would the tunic version still be up for consideration? No, I don't like the tunic. No pants, no capes. This definitely counts as robes, for sure. Alright, we're coming up at the end of our first Tavern Keeper's Craft. Let me go ahead and get some fabric folds on here. Something simple. This is already 48,000 points. Let's fix that. There we go. I'm excited to see this pose. It's gonna look really good. Contains 216 edges that are... what in the what? I could tell the shirt was gonna fight me and I was like, what? You're just a little shirt. Ew. Let me fix up the topology on this. And, oh, here we go. We had some funny business going on. I was gonna say, I'm like, this is not complicated enough of a mesh to be this angry. Hello, says Mia, have you ever created a full mech character and then pose them? God, no. That isn't high fantasy in the slightest. I do high fantasy, grimdark. I would never accept a request like that. The closest it would be is something that I could almost repurpose for steampunk. You're pretty much asking me if I've ever done like a Gundam. No. Just doesn't speak to me. Just not my thing. Oh my gosh, even just thinking about that gives me nightmares. That'd be nothing but hard surface. I mean, I guess I've done a golem that had like a cannon for an arm. Kinda. I've done constructs, you know. 3,000 points. What is wrong with you? Sorry, I'm very tickled by this shirt right now. Just blowing itself up. Ah, I found the problem. Cool. I was gonna say. I'm like, what is your deal? Stop being like that. There you go. Fixed. Fixed. Ah, but the mech car was so cool. I mean, it's steampunk though. That's fine. With a cool flavor, I'm fine with it. But full mechs are not happening. Those are not on the agenda. Alright, he's looking pretty darn cool. I think his head's a little bit boring, so let's spend a little time there before we move on, getting some reptile-y textures. I don't like this is 25,000 points for such a simple head, so we're going to Z-remesh this, but when you Z-remesh by half, watch, it's going to completely destroy the eye. Oh. Call me a liar. Okay. My point being is that we can remesh this, and we can also keep some of the groups here. So we're going to use our masking brush, and we're going to just like create some polygroups around this. So that way, when I do Z-remesh, it doesn't just completely obliterate the only bit of detail that's on here. Looks good. I'm going to do polish by features to kind of keep the shape later on. And now I can do Z-remesh and keep groups. We'll kind of have a happy in between. Where are you? There you go. I should really dock keep groups. If you want to put buttons on your custom UI, go to Preferences, Config, click on Enable Config, hold down Command and Option, that is Control and Alt on Windows, and click and drag what you want. Once you're done, Enable Customize, click on it again, and then Store Config. Ta-da! You now know a speed course of how to customize your UI in ZBrush. So here's the before, here's the after, and you can see it actually respected those groups in the edges. The second time, not as much, but good enough. I'm going to subdivide a few times and then project the details back on and see if it does a good job or not. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Oh, it did a very good job. Sweet, so now I have a low res version, it's only 4,000 points versus this, which was 25,000 points for really no reason. Great, let's go ahead and delete that. Let's go back to this higher res one, and now I can kind of sculpt additional details as I see fit. Oh, hey Wendelier, it's been a bit, welcome back. Wendelier, this is Mia. I know you went to school for engineering, but never worked as an engineer. Do you ever feel like you're missing out on a pointless stand-up meeting somewhere? No, I do not. I did violently hate all meetings and whatnot. Again, so I never worked in industry, but I was a very go-getter in college. So I did work on various research projects and I was paid for them. So I got a taste of what it was like and I hated it. So, yeah. Why are there so many meetings? Why do we have meetings about meetings? I don't understand. Just like, oh God. Ah, Wendelier has triggered me. Ugh. God. Again, great worker, horrible employee. Or, not really. My God. I got no problem following instructions. I got no problem doing what I'm told. I got no problem doing something dumb, even if I would do it in a different way, if it fits better in the process for everyone else. I get that. I could be a good cog in the machine. But God, if you waste my time in meetings, I become a demon. I just sit there and stew like a pressure cooker. Especially when they're meetings that are like, not even for you, it's for like some department that's like adjacent to you. Why? Don't understand. But anyway, we are at the Taverb, so we don't have to worry about that. All at once, you guys seeing why I do not have a normal job. Yeah. I get that a lot where people are like, oh, I could never work for myself, you know? The pressure of making money or doing whatever and just staying to a schedule. I don't know. I've heard a bunch of different ones and I'm like, I feel the same way about what you do. Duke says, I work for a job that has meetings about meetings that should both be emails. That's the exact thing. That's the kind of thing that makes me like violent. Like, I feel for you. I really, really do. Not the email meetings. I never had to work like a high stakes job, you know, one that like really mattered. So there was a time when I was working in college where at the end of it, I raised my hand and I legit was like, why wasn't this an email? And everybody laughed. And I was not laughing. And my boss took me aside afterwards and was like, you can't ask that. And I was like, I literally never got an answer to like, hey, like, and it wasn't like, why wasn't this an email? No, I was just like, hey, great. I understand everything. No questions. Why can't this be an email? Ah, goodness. All right, we're gonna make this even better by, guys are gonna set me off. We're gonna make this a little bit of a darker color here in RGB. And so we have a little bit more variation here. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Oh, Louise is back. Hi, welcome back. Wendelier says to Aloha, I have a recurring meeting 3 times a week where we all tell the entire engineering department what we're working on. Aloha says, speaking of which, the Tavern meeting, which we all buzz like bees for an hour, begins tonight. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. Alright, I need to increase the distance on this a little bit because this texture is just getting a little too built up on itself. So we're going to do 2 things. One, we're going to enable, I think it's roll. And then we're also going to increase the lazy step from 0.25 to 0.5. There we go. That's better. And there you go. Really quick, easy lizard texture. I'm also going to increase the focal shift so there's a bit more of a blend to it. Yeah. And then last but not least, when I find everything that I like, I will use my contrast slider. I guess I do this by hand and then this did a better job than what I did by hand. And I'm like, that's hurtful, but fair. Here's before, here's the after. Excellent. I should probably wait for this after I pose. I'm gonna do it now anyway. If I decide I don't like it, I'll deal with it. Those consequences are for future Mia. It's a bit messy. That's a nice little detail. All right, our little mug has reached happy hour, but psych, it is Tuesday, so we are not going to happy hour right now. We are going to yet another Tavern Keeper's Craft. But here's what we got done in an hour. Yeah, we're currently in hour 15, and we went from this to this. If you have any questions on how any of that was done, you can either rewind or ask me now. Here's a bit of a spin around for this. They asked for a Lizardfolk monk in robes. Technically, if you want it to be more robe-like, it would look more like this. I want to show you guys why I didn't do that. With digitigrade legs, when you put robes on stuff, it just looks stupid. It just takes like one of the coolest aspects of the fact that you're playing like a lizard, and it's like, okay, just in a skirt. It's just a man with a lizard head. So instead of making this the design, I decided to make it much more interesting, and I opted for this. Aloha says, I really like the poofy sleeves. Gives Jedi vibes. It really does. It really does. As I kind of wait at the very end of this first Tavern Keeper's Craft, I'm going to kind of sit around and wait to see if any questions come in. In the meantime, I'm going to... What was I going to say? I'm going to get this ready for for printing and posing. So I'm simplifying my subtools, merging things down, all that good stuff. Oh, question. Duke says, yeah, I missed the first 45 minutes due to said meeting. Can you recap? Just kidding. Okay, well first I made... No, just kidding. So I normally take Wednesday off from streaming, but tomorrow I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to stream every day this week. Just putting that out there. Prepare yourself. Guys, I'm so excited to start playing with Marvelous Designer, and I'm so close. So one of the things that keeps me very successful in my job and just focus and all that good stuff is I'm only allowed to have one priority. And this really goes, I would argue, for anybody, but all of y'all with, you know, normal jobs, especially in engineering, you guys know all about this, where it's like, okay, here's our priority list, and it's like a full fucking page. And I'm like, that literally defeats the purpose of having a priority. When everything is a priority, nothing's a priority. Simple as that. So my number one priority every single week, other than staying alive, is making 5 models I can release on Patreon. That's it. That's the only thing I'm allowed to do, which is frustrating because I want to do other projects and things, but I can't. So that's my number one thing. Usually I get that finished by about Wednesday. Very exciting. I still stream and stuff, but anyway, well, that's for show. And then once that's done, I can go to my second priority, you know, or second thing on the list, which for now is the website. I really want to learn Marvelous and work on my side projects and other cool things. But again, that's not how that works. And I swear that's what keeps me so productive, and that's what keeps everything flowing. Oh, Aloha did a fantastic little summary for us If you have not looked up or if you're just tuning in, please pay attention. I really want to show this to you. This, Duke, ironically, here is your recap of the first 45 minutes of the stream. We start with our base mesh here of our lovely little lizard men. And then I start grabbing assets I had previously created. You're going to see a beginning of like a mixture of kit bashing and then creating new assets at the same time. You can kind of see the silhouette starting to take shape here. I had more of this tunic thing going on at first, which I like, but it kind of made him look very feminine. I like the high-waisted pant short thing going on here. More details, and I thought this looked a little bit cluttered, so then I refined a bit further, and then here we are. So again, from the beginning, can I have this zoomed in the whole time? Because that'd be really cool. No, I can't. Womp womp. But yeah, little snapshots. Hello, you're the best. And then all of that to bring us to our final point right now, which is here. Cheers for Aloha. Huzzah. I want to start saying that because, oh my gosh, what is that show? I think it was The Great on Hulu. They canceled it because they cancel everything. But it was fantastic. And oh, I just thought it was the funniest thing. I say that all the time. Anything that moves together, I like to merge down. So this whole belt assembly, that's going to be the belt, both layers, the pouches, the bow that I repurpose into a knot thing, but not the tabard. Tabard, that is actually how you say that. Anyway, because we say taverb here instead of tavern, it makes other words sound, it confuses me. Okay. These pouches, I know from using in past experience, likes to blow up when I post-process them, so I'm going to handle them now. I'm going to Dynamesh them down at the highest resolution without them looking ridiculous, and then decimate. So here's a really common thing that my students get upset about. When you Dynamesh things, Dynamesh is not for maintaining resolution. The next student mesh destroying the resolution, I'm going to throw you out of building. It's not what it's for. It was never what it is for. It is to take your topology that is stretched out and screwed up and blanket it with new, somewhat even topology so you can keep sculpting. Or you can use it to close holes and merge things down. That's not really what it's for. When you do that, look at this. See how it gets all blurry around here? And again, my students will screenshot this and be like, oh, Dynamesh sucks. And I'm like, not what it's for the 30th time. Anyway, you can kind of circumvent this though by decimating at a low resolution, which I did next here. This is 5,000 points. And it kind of brings that crispness back. Again, I'm okay with this because I do 3D printing. If you were optimizing this for like a video game asset, well, your whole process here is already wrong. But if you're specifically 3D printing, then yes, then that is just fine. And from a distance, you really can't tell what's going on. Is it really a live stream if I don't threaten to throw my students out the window? Speaking of, you should join my mentorship program today. It's only $1 a day. And that isn't a joke. It actually is 30 bucks a month. Okay. Empress, oh no! Yeah. Empress says, in ZBrush, I now call active points poing now. Oh my goodness, that's fantastic. Empress is trying to remember if she has done that. I don't think you have, actually. You've done other things I like to jokingly complain about, but not that one. Oh my god, there's a gnat in here. Yeah. And I love teasing my students. It brings me immense joy. The only bad students I have are the ones that don't try. Simple as that. Asking questions is great. Complaining about ZBrush is great. All of it is fine. But the ones that just complain and throw a fit and then you don't make any art, that's a good way for me to be like, maybe I'm not a good fit for you. I've told a student that before. I was like, you sure like to complain about the software instead of use the software. Out of like, I've taught over 100 people at this point. I've only ever had that happen once. So that's not bad, a 1% rate. Knock on wood. Duke says, in video game assets, wouldn't a lot of detail be added with the skins? Yes, and so the technical term for skins is texture. But yeah, exactly. It's not actually, you're not sculpting detail, or you do sculpt detail. What you see is a picture of the detail, not actually like sculptural things, not sculpted deformations of the mesh. There you go. It's a picture of it. But how do you make that picture? From sculpting the mesh and taking a picture and generating UVs and all that kind of stuff. So, yes. Same, but different. All right, we are officially at the end here. Let's do a fun little screenshot. I'm going to go to merge visible. I'm just gonna put a copy right up here. Oh, first of all, we don't need this whole asset library. Here we go. I'm gonna put a little copy up here, and we're going to duplicate it and then put a fun render on it. That did that weird stretchy thing because there was a mask somewhere on the mesh. So I hold down Control, click and drag, and that will clear the mask. I did this a little goofy. Let me fix this. I have my camera all bent around. What are you doing? There we go. Fixed. On the left, I like to have it a close-up. And on the right, I like to have the whole character in view. Back in the day, this is how I used to send screenshots to clients. Though I do like a front, back, side, all that kind of stuff. Back in the day when I did commissions. I do not do commissions anymore. I mean, technically there's always a price, but no. Monkey says, when Ricky goes to pose that in Character 4, is there a way to make an extra joint in the leg? Yeah, he does that. I think he just moved. I don't think he doesn't. Well, it's not an extra joint. This has the same amount of joints that our leg does, I'm 90% sure. It just moved differently. So, like, the ankle joint is just, like, up here or some crap. I don't know. But yeah, you just move them differently. That's a horrible answer. I'm so sorry. That is a question for Ricky. You can ping him in our Discord. All right, it is screenshot time. Smile. That is character number 1 complete today. We got one more. So we're doing this whole party all over again. Whoa. But first, I'm going to take a little break. I encourage y'all to get up, stretch, grab some water, grab a snack, like the stream, and I'll see y'all in about 5 to 10 minutes, okay? Hello and welcome back. Hope y'all are having a good time so far. It's a long stream today. We are doing 2 Tavern Keeper's Craft, but first we're going to do a brief intermission for a happy hour. I only have 1 student to review today, it makes it really easy, so let's get straight to it. Empress, if you're still here, just put a little like blah in the chat so I know you're still there. If not, I'll timestamp this for you to watch later. So Empress messaged me and was like, hey, I found this staff that I like. How do I approach doing this? And they have a little sketch here. And their initial thought was pretty much spot on, which is using a cylinder for the space here, and then using curved tube with a little modifier to get this tapered end. I'm going to do a demo of this right now for happy hour because, there we go, see, I got you, Empress. Because the method you use to create these branches is the exact same method you can use to create antlers, like on a deer or something. So let's go ahead and do a demo of that. I'm going to bring up or first of all, let's save. I have not saved this model yet. This is what we made in the first Tavern Keeper's Craft of the day. If you want to see how we made this, just rewind or watch later. Alright, go here. This is going to be our Lizardfolk monk. Perfect. And now to create this little doodad. I'm not going to make it exactly, and we're going to kind of run through this in about, it's probably like a 5-minute demo. So yes, this would be the trunk. Let's get this kind of a similar color that we have in our reference here. Kind of like a richest, actually it's more on the purple side. There we go. Something like that, and then in order to add all these bits of volume and stuff, I actually would just divide a few times, Dynamesh afterwards, and then I go with the inflate brush and just kind of add some texture and some knots on here. See how similar that kind of looks already? Very good. Next up, we're going to use our curved tube brush and with symmetry turned on. So by default, when you click and drag, it's already going to look somewhat similar, but we can make it better. Go to your stroke menu, curve modifiers, click right here. It's going to open up a graph, and then make sure size is enabled. Last but not least, we're going to adjust this graph so that way it's negative sloping, not positive. So FV, if you click on that, it will flip it for you right away. I'm gonna make it a little bit softer, grab this node and just pull straight up. All this means is that as the curved brush continues, it gets smaller. That's it. So now, when I do this, you'll see it actually kind of tapers on the end, doesn't it? So let me look at this and I'm gonna try to roughly copy it. That's about right. And then each time you try to add to this, it's gonna wanna grab that curve and make you mad. It's okay. You're gonna hold down Command, clear your mask, and then click somewhere on your mesh. When you click, it gets rid of that dotted line. Do it again. Again, I'm trying to like roughly copy what I see here. Make it a little smaller. While that dotted line is still there, it's really powerful because you can still change the curve, the size of the curve, all that kind of stuff. And then whenever you want, click on X to turn off symmetry, and you can start adding asymmetrical details and branches and whatnot. Well, that's pretty close, I'd say, in 5 minutes. I'm using Move and Backface Mask now, add more volume here. And you can use Move Topological to push these little branch sections into place. Last but not least, what I would do is I would Dynamesh all this together. So now it's one piece. I would subdivide, add more resolution, use Dam Standard, change your alpha to this little scratchy one, enable Backface Mask yet again, and then you can click and drag. Just be really careful with it, and you can start to get this kind of like wood noise texture on here really quickly. Alright, I got so close to just making the darn thing. We're gonna keep going. Because I pretty much just made this little sketch you sent me, so we're gonna keep going. Oh, I didn't do the inside sections, that's fine. I already have this really cute flower brush, so since we're so close, I'm just gonna finish it. Alright, I'm gonna pick this pink color. Make sure you don't have subdivision levels. And we can just kind of add this on here. There you go. That's about what that looks like, roughly. Not bad for 5 minutes or whatever. Empress says, I swear my brain goes into overdrive thinking of the method, and then you show it, and I'm like, I could do that in my sleep. That's what I'm here for. That's exactly what I'm here for. Good, that makes me very happy. And what better of an advertisement for my mentorship program? If you're watching this and that's the kind of help that'd benefit you, consider joining. That's exactly the best way to take advantage of it. All right, moving right along. It is time to work on our next request. I'm going to open my beginning ZPR. You're very welcome, Empress. All right, let's talk about this. Our next request is going to be for a tavern keeper that is more like Viking style. So let me show it to you. This request is from Brady Gray. Thank you so much for supporting on Patreon and for this fun request. You said, I got a fighter / tavern owner I've been eager to play. He's Viking inspired. I would love to see him with a casual stance, great axe in one, resting on his shoulder, and a big mug of ale in the other. We can do that. All right, here's some references I grabbed on the interweb. Looking Viking-y, looking tavern crafter, keeper-y. Without further ado, let's go. Oh, and that's the end of happy hour. Happy hour is happy 5 minutes a day. So if you have questions, you better ask them now. All right, and we're back to Tavern Keeper's Craft. So we do not need a lady. We are making a man for this. I'm going to delete our female base mesh here. Now we have our dude. Let's start putting all this together and get our Viking man looking Viking-y. I have an entire collection that I've already created of Vikings, so I should have a lot of assets for this. We'll see. If I don't, no worry, we'll just make them. We're going to give him a lovely beard, simple hairstyle, something a bit more slicked back. I might even give him like a that Viking mohawk thing. So I might even use this. It looks like it's just braids, right? Or like a ponytail. But I could probably repurpose this into looking like a Viking hairstyle. I want to try that. Oh no, did I delete our man? No, there he is. I was going to say, I was like, where did you go? So for now, it's going to look like I'm giving him a big ponytail. We'll make him a ginger. Why not? It's a little on the pinkish orange side. Let's make that a little brownish red. That's better. All right. And then what other pieces can I grab here? It's kind of like shopping. Ooh, my bad. This is the perfect hairstyle. That's kind of exactly what I'm looking for. Well, there we go. I think the last time I used this was for Thor. And I think I actually used that ponytail to create this as well. Full circle moment. And this is what I'm talking about. It's why I love keeping assets I've created for other characters, because I can kind of use it as a head start for the next time. I don't know why his eyebrows are still attached. It's kind of funny. And we're still going to modify this, of course, to best suit this character. It's just a starting point. Great, well, that's a really fast starting point. Good job, me. Saving stuff, even though I almost didn't see it. I'm sure one of y'all would have been like, hey, what about that thing that's right in front of you? That's what you want. All right, that's everything we wanted there. On to our next pieces. I'm gonna give him kind of like an open tunic, maybe like a fur thing on his shoulders to bring in more of that Viking element. Thinking. Because like you might look at this here and be like, that's not Viking at all. But that's not what I'm looking at. I'm like, okay, there wouldn't be a collar, there wouldn't be a cravat. It'd look like this, and there wouldn't be any lapels. But see what we're left over with? It's actually pretty nice, and that amount of layering, I could get this top, I keep the top layer or the bottom layer, and get pretty close to what I'm wanting. If you have a hard time of like refining shapes, it's probably a little too early to start building an asset library, but once you like trained your eye to like, you know, break things down to their simplest components, that's when you can really start getting a lot of use out of stuff like this. Let's go with like a chocolatey brown. And I don't know any tavern keeper that is this jacked. We need to give him more of a beer belly. I'm sure he enjoys what he serves. That's better. Much better. And then we're gonna grab this undershirt here and go with like a dusty gray color just for some contrast. And I think we're gonna get rid of here we go, that second layer. Bam, just like that. We have a pretty strong start, don't we? We can continue to modify that as we go. I'm probably gonna give him like a big apron of sorts to really sell that tavern keeper. Yeah, I can't believe we're making a tavern keeper during Tavern Keeper's Craft. That's just a coincidence that has literally never happened before. Just in case there's someone new lurking like, wow, she brands her whole section based on the model of the day. No, I don't. It's never happened before. All right, looking good. Now for pants. We need a really prominent, strong belt. And then I'm not sure what kind of boots I want to give him. I wouldn't mind doing this kind of fur trimmed boot here. And then I can combine that with one of like these, I don't know what it's called, this little piece at the top, like leather that can fold over. Kind of transform what I got. There we go. Start giving the look. And then this is fine the way that it is, but I think it would really benefit from this little like shoe hat that I made. Check this out. Because it completely transforms the like look of the shoe without having to sculpt an entirely brand new shoe. See what I mean? How nice is that? Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Imagining giving him some like loose pants would be great. These are like office slacks, but they work really well as a starting shape. I picked this dusty gray color that I'm going with here. And I can remove the bottom part of the pant. Last but not least, we're going to take our move brush and kind of get everything snugged into place. This turned out great. This is like Thor if he was a barkeep. Retired Thor. I like this belt. I don't know if I'm going to end up using it, but that's the beauty of the asset library. I can kind of grab pieces and then decide if I want to keep it or not. Alright, that is the end of the kit bashing phase. It was quite successful. You know what? No, I'm not going to do that. Okay. Let's go ahead and bring in our... Let's bring in a base. Something cobblestone. This is like my ancient cobblestone. Ugh. Ugly. It's a really old base. We're gonna try that again. probably just call it stone now. I don't even say cobblestone. Yeah. Knew it. Perfect. So everything I designed here is to be 3D printed and specifically for tabletop minis. So I like to have a base on here just to kind of set it in the scene. Beautiful. It's a little too blue than I anticipated for the stone itself, but that's fine. I want to add some things to this base to decorate it a touch. Like I think a little simple stool would look really good. Let's go with like a really rich brownish red. That way this entire model doesn't look like it's the same color. Perfect. And then I know I have a platter of beer already. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and bring that in. Empress says, "Say, Mia, a thought just crossed my mind. Do you tell?" Let's get that roughly in place. And then, of course, we need to get some poly paint on here. Because we're looking awfully boring right now, aren't we? I can go to paint and then change it from dots to drag rectangle. Mask by polygroups to 100, and that's going to allow me to poly paint this really quickly. There we go. Poly painted, just like that. Hey Sean, welcome back. Yeah, hi everyone, happy to be back. Happy to have you back. Also, thank you so much, Wolf Bite Games, for subscribing. I appreciate it. And for Seth, have you ever thought about cutting a short video for your mentorship / Patreon to use when you go AFK as a commercial break? Oh, that's very sweet. Or a quick button you can press when introducing yourself. I've thought about it. I don't know. Making it easier to, I feel like as I talk and as I teach, and not just teach, but like, I guess perform on live stream, I talk about my students enough that if someone wants to learn from me, I feel like they'd have the 2 cents to be like, huh, she talks about students. Huh, how do I become a student? I want to learn. So I'd rather do that than like a literal commercial break. Though it's a fantastic idea. I guarantee my mods are going to read that and be like, that's a great idea. Go ahead and add a darker color here for back face masks. I really kind of want to, these stones are not shading. Here we go. See how before and after looks way better? I'm using a trick here using my paintbrush plus drag rectangle mode instead of dots, and then back face mask. And that's so you can kind of get that effect. Pretty cool. All right, we're really early on here. Let's keep on going. He needs like a apron or a belt or something that's going to really start to bring this together. I'm gonna hide this belt here, I think, because as cool as it is, it doesn't really suit this character, and I know that. So let's go ahead and create a belt. I'm gonna use curve strap snap. Where the hell is it? I lost my brush. So I'm gonna go to the brush palette, and it should appear. 1 second. Whenever it's auto saving, don't mess with it. Oh, here it is. Curve strap snap. And then I can click and drag and hold down shift and it will grab the shape. It doesn't always want to work the first time. So if you do it and you're like, well, when I do it in ZBrush, it doesn't work. I know, it works for me like half the time too. Just try again. Just try again. Empress says that's fair. And what you said is also very fair. All right, we're going to create this like apron. I'm gonna use a plane. We're gonna kind of shape this roughly to the size that I want. a little bit heavier set, but I still think he's much too skinny still. We're gonna make the pants this darker color and instead the apron this lighter color so it stands out more. I'm also gonna go to my bend modifier here that's under my gizmo and just add a little curve. Before, after, let's go a little farther. There we go. Beautiful. All right, adding some more components here, it's coming together. I'm also gonna separate the shirt and the vest. And I'd like if the shirt actually poked out under the vest and kind of give it a little bit of texture. So I'm just using my move brush and just pulling it straight out. It's gonna look really dumb until it doesn't, as is most things when it comes to art. There we go, and I can kind of smooth it and nudge it back into place. I find it's easier to have more material than less material to work with and then kind of refine it from there. Alright, we're starting to come together a bit here. Let's go ahead and work on his face because gosh, this little dorky beard is killing me. It looks so stupid. Alright. And to be clear, if you have a beard in real life that looks anything like this, that's fantastic. I'm just saying it's the fact that his mustache is coming up to like his eyeballs. That's the problem. Alright, we're going to separate this into a few different components just to make it easier to work on. And I want long beard. And I'm probably going to give him a nice big smile too. See, that's already looking better. Alright, let's go ahead and adjust his face a touch. And since he's a Viking, I feel like I have a good excuse to give him a healthy amount of guy liner. Some fun, like Viking war paint, you know? Even though he's not at war by any means. Let's go with a darker brown rich shade, and we're gonna kind of just give him a little bit of eyeshadow. It's gonna make him look a little tired too. Now let's start moving his face around, kind of give him a bit of a smile. So to do that, I'm obviously going to move his mouth, but so much that's going to be obscured by the beard. What's really going to make the smile read well is bringing his eyes up. Because when you smile, your eyes go from this, and then watch my bottom eyelids, like they squish up. So you want this to be like flat. And then same thing, a huge movement on your face is going to be right here on your cheeks. So I'm going to take my move brush and just kind of hold down Option and pull this out. I'm also going to give him a much bigger nose. Oh, we don't want to Squidward face him. I'm using my Dan Sander brush right now. It's kind of like a construction line guide almost. Going to crease his nostrils a bit more and also the bridge of his nose. There we go, that's better. Sean says, it was a very busy summer, but back to work and I have 2 sections of basic ZBrush for the next 12 weeks. The students are excited to be learning the program. Oh, how cool! That's awesome. I love that you teach ZBrush, that's so cool. Alright, let's give him a bigger smile here. So what makes a smile look like a smile? It's not the top lip. People I think get into trouble when they do this, you know, smile. Like no one smiles like that, or if you do, I'm sorry. But what makes the smile not like iconic, you know, upside down or that U shape? It's your bottom lip, not the top lip. So you want to have the top lip mostly stay the same, and then you adjust the bottom lip here to get that U shape. And then don't forget that your mouth does curve around your face, so it should pull back. I'm gonna grab Move Topological to open his mouth a touch, if it will let me. I also need to inflate his mouth a touch here so the teeth hold up. And give him kind of like a yellowish tooth tinge because teeth are not white. You can always tell when people have weirdly over white teeth. And I get like people don't want yellow teeth, but like there's such a thing as too white too. And that's saying something because I came from California. Everyone has crazy white teeth in California. Now he looks kind of like afraid. We're working on it. We're gonna hide the beard and stuff because it's making my life difficult. There we go. Kind of just fixing the way that his hair fits together, all that good stuff. Love some bushy eyebrows too. Going to crease those eye bags a bit more. And then define the bulb of the nose a touch more. I'm using Alt, which is Option on Mac, sit backwards there, on the damn standard brush. Which means instead of creasing, it's actually going to add a line. It's a goofy mouth, oh my gosh. Oops. It's got that little kid smile right now, just like. And give him some crow's feet too. Emphasize the smile and a bit of age, because everyone has these. I don't want our barkeep looking too young, you know? His cheeks look so weird still. His whole face looks inflated. That's because I grabbed his cheekbone a little too far back, but I can fix that. Let's see, I'm gonna cut a line from his ear to his lip right here. That's also how you put on contour for like makeup. I can use that. It's kind of like a construction line of where to hollow the rest of this out and figure out where the heck that cheekbone goes. So his orbital eye socket's like here. So that's where that line's gonna go. There we go. This is not in symmetry. Oh, sad. He's gonna have a crooked smile, literally, because that's the way that I constructed it. It might actually look good. Who knows? And continue adding some facial folds, wrinkles to his face. Excellent. And then we'll give his face a break here and keep working on the rest of the character. I don't spend too much time in any one area. making the beard a little more rough. I think that helps quite a bit. Just making the character look a little more lived in, a little more organic instead of perfectly stiff and weird, you know? Just don't feel discouraged when you're working on faces. Just keep at it. It's gonna look silly. That's part of it. Oh, much nicer. Oh no, Paint, I hope you feel better, but thanks for stopping in, at least for a bit. This is our second Tavern Keeper's Craft today. We are working on a kind of Viking-styled barkeep. I think that, yeah, we weren't getting nearly enough chest hair, so I'm fixing that. Sean says, hi from my 5th period basic ZBrush class, Mia. You're the introduction for us today. Oh, hello! Hello to whole classroom. That's so exciting. Today we're working on a barkeep, kind of like Viking style. We're very, very early on right now. Which is a really fun time. So again, always from basic shapes to more complicated shapes. Duke says, how aggressive do you have to get with something like scarring for it to show well for 3D printing? Well, the kind of rule of thumb here is like, see like his eyebrows and stuff and how far like, I sculpt them off of his face. If those will show up on a 3D print, then I know we're in good business. So let me grab a mini. Might want to knock them all over. Why is it so far away? Okay, anyway. So like this guy, he's super small, right? He's only, you know, D&D scale. But if you look at him, oh, my camera is not ready for this. You can see like the braids on his beard and his eyelashes, or not eyelashes, but like his eyebrow brick or whatever. So as long as it's around that size, you know you're looking good. Nothing beats just the practice of sculpting and then printing it yourself and kind of getting a feel for it that way. Great question. I do find that usually more is in fact more. All right, what else do we want to work on here? We're early. What's gonna make him fun? What's gonna make him interesting? I like the start of this chest hair thing. Ooh, they mentioned that this Tavern Keeper is also a bit of a fighter, a bit of a brawler, which is fun. It's like he's like the bouncer for his own pub, right? So I think it'd make a lot of sense if he had some wrappings on him, you know, kind of like a boxer. So let's create those. I'm gonna use my mask lasso brush, select the body, go to their lowest subdivision level, and then just mask that shape. I'm gonna go to extract at 0 thickness, and then inflate just a touch. Your topology is going to be a little funny, so just zero mesh by half, and that'll clean that up quite nicely. There we go. Alright, just like that, we have another component on this character, and it's looking a little more interesting. Thinking what other shapes I want to add here. What would I have if I was like a barkeep? Like what would be on my, like on a belt? We have like this apron here, but I don't have anything on it, just a perfectly flat piece of material. Like, I think he'd have like knives. He's not like a butcher or a baker or something. Probably just like rags for like cleaning dishes and that kind of thing. I could see that. And then I want some like very pendant looking decoration for the center of this. That just feels very Viking. I could make a new one, or I could go into my asset library I've been saving over the years, and I already have like a Viking styled shield. I bet you I can resize that and reuse it as a belt buckle. Let's see. So here's all these different weapons I've kind of made over the years working on characters, and here's that Viking shield I was talking about. I bet you we can use that. Go to append and make sure that subtool is selected and your other tool. Again, your tools are made of subtools. So I'm just moving a subtool from one tool to another. I know, that's confusing. You'll get used to it, I promise. Kind of like a fun detail here. And let's go with like a rich silver or gold. Let's just see what wants to play nicer. When you're coloring something silver, the temptation just to go to like pure white. You don't want to paint with pure whites and pure blacks, ever. Go to like more of like a bluish tone, and somewhere in here in this more desaturated zone. There we go. And if you really need to push the contrast, you can actually change the material, and that will help. There we go. And he mentioned that this barkeep also does have a like Viking great axe, of which I have a pretty nice one that I've already made. Again, I made a whole Vikings collection, so I have a lot of assets I can keep using here, which is nice. Again, whenever it says autosave, don't touch anything. Just let it save. We're gonna color that the same way. I'm gonna get some more color on here by simply masking the bits of the blade. And then just fill object. If I want to go a little bit further, I could actually mask everything except for these wrappings here. Now let's go with a richer red color. There we go. Now it's probably painted. And then Empress did a little research for me, thank you. Barkeeps from a quick search don't seem to carry much on them. Full front aprons are also most common with a big pocket in the front on the chest. That's about it. Sounds like I got some liberty to do whatever I want here. My favorite. Now let's keep this a bit more open. A lot of room for that beer belly and chest hair. Let's also make the pants a bit of a looser fit. We don't want our Viking man to be in skinny jeans. That already looks so much better. I'm just using the move brush and they're just pulling out these shapes here. Notice how low res this is. Like, there's not even any, like, I haven't even closed the topology yet. It's really easy to get bogged down with like a super high poly count right away. And it's a really bad habit to form, so don't do that. Trying to see if I want to put like a little dent right here or not. That's not the cleanest way to do it. Just trying it out. Maybe. Nah. Instead I'll texture this like leather, I think. Now that's not there, I miss it. So an easy way to add that is actually to use your knife lasso brush. I'm gonna select it right here. And then whatever you go clockwise is what it keeps. So if you want to do the opposite, you go counterclockwise, and that's how it cuts that out. There we go. And now I'm gonna use my standard brush to add some fabric folds. This is pretty much my go-to brush when adding any fabric folds. When you get to really high level stuff, you're not really gonna sculpt fabric folds by hand. You're gonna use a program like Marvelous Designer to simulate them. Not that there's anything wrong with sculpting stuff by hand, it's really hard to beat a simulation. The best thing you can do as a creative is spend time in figuring out what makes a design truly interesting and truly unique. Not how well you can sit and stare at a screen and sculpt fabric folds over and over again. Like there's artistry in that, but it's more valuable to have the design. Does that make sense? Because if your execution is fantastic, but your character is boring as heck to look at, you know what I mean? There we go. Perfect. Now we're gonna start detailing these pants. I'm gonna just add a really simple seam by striking down with my standard brush. You could also use the slash brush, which is hidden within Lightbox. We're gonna add some similar fabric folds on his pants. I'm gonna kind of build them up using the standard brush. You'll notice that like, I'll do a stroke and you'll see it get like bigger all at once. What I do is I work on a Z intensity around 25, and then if I like a stroke that I did, I'll repeat it by clicking number 1 on my keyboard. Keep in mind that when you click 1 on your keyboard, it just repeats whatever you did last. So if I move the camera a bit and click 1, it's just gonna start spinning. So it's not really a brush repeat button, it just does whatever you last clicked, repeat button. but it's a really powerful way to kind of build up form and shape. If you really want to do a good job with these fabric folds, you're going to want to mask areas so that way you have pieces of fabric that are actually overlapping, not just like appearing like they're overlapping. I do more of like a quick, easy, breezy sculpt. That's kind of what my business is based on, is getting requests done. Doesn't mean that I don't care if it's not like a labor of love. It just means time is money, honey. It's also why I'm excited about Marvelous, because then I can spend like a few hours getting some really fancy looking pants that I can then iterate and kit bash for all kinds of characters. So that's a way that I can get like a really high level look without losing time. Or at least using time in like an economical way. Kind of just adding some more stitching in the back because I think it looks fun. Oh my goodness, his butt is terribly flat. Sorry, sir. I did not give you much to work with. All right, you can kind of see it starting to come together. Some life here. I really want this apron to be a thing. So I'm going to add thickness to this by using dynamic. Using dynamic subdiv. Ooh, it's higher res than I thought. Ew, why is this so high res? Okay, we're going to zero mesh by half a few times because I just don't want to deal with that many polys. That's way too many. Just keep doing it. I don't care if the slit happened here because I might make it a feature. Who knows? No, I don't like it. There we go. There's two things you can do. You can just zero mesh it again, but using like keep groups or whatever. I just like to do it the lazy way, and I'll just turn off symmetry, I'll scoot it over, and then mirror and weld. I know. Listen, it works, right? There you go. Very nice. And now I don't mind going through with dynamic and adding some thickness. So if you're wondering like, okay, why did I care? It's because I'm going to use a Z modeler brush to add a trim to this. And it's a problem. Why is the thickness in the wrong direction? It's a problem if you want to use a Z modeler brush when there's a bunch of, you know, polys like that. It becomes really annoying to use a Z modeler brush, and it's probably going to crash. Oh, that's another thing. I love hearing like how much like ZBrush is such an unstable program, and like, yeah, it can be sensitive, but if ZBrush is crashing all the time, it's you, boo. It's you. Like, you're asking ZBrush to do things that it's not supposed to be doing. That was a hard one for me to learn. It felt better just to complain about ZBrush instead of be like, oh, I'm doing dumb things. There we go. So I extruded that line there, and I'm going to subdivide. Normally, if I'm working like hard surface, I will crease that line there so it's really nice and crisp. But since it's actually a softer material, I do want it to kind of round off. What is this? Todd Howard song, It Just Works, the musical. I need to look at that later. Hey, Foxy's here. Hello, hello. Always good to see you, Foxy. How have you been? The Taverb has been sleepy. Makes sense. Everyone's going back to school and stuff, and a lot of y'all have kiddos and whatnot. Do I want to add just like pleat this like a skirt, or do I want to do like fabric folds? I don't know. Because I feel like I would want to do like more swooshy fabric folds. Yeah, that makes more sense. Where does it like pinch at? Because at some point gravity is like hello, and gravity wins. A reminder when you're sculpting fabric folds, don't just add material. You should also be taking away material to get your folds looking really good. That looks pretty good. All right, I'm gonna use the layer brush to add kind of like a noise modifier essentially. This is not like the proper way to do it, but it's the way I do it. I'm gonna dot, spread rectangle, And soften our focal shift here. Turn on back face mask. And just add some like wear and tear. I'm really heavy-handed with it because it's gonna be 3D printed and that makes it look quite nice. Alright, I think I wanted this to be like wrappings, but now they look kind of like leather bracers. I'm not sure what I want these to be. I'm thinking. I can extrude a poly loop on the edges here, and then I can kind of just look at it. That looks more interesting. I don't know what else I want to do with it, so I'm gonna leave it alone for right now. Ooh, I forgot I wanted to have like a fur element to this. Also, this belt is just not inspiring me very much. Let's make that belt a little bit thinner. Bring it in. And let's extrude some loops on here too. So I'm gonna insert some. And let's just add some interest. It's gonna look a bit chunky. Why will you not go the direction I want you to? There you go. And it's really not what I wanted still. It's something. Yeah, no. Nah. That's fine. I like that. And then I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm just going to grab a section here to have as like the excess part of the belt. Next, I'm going to grab my transpose line and just click and drag. And then definitely some like pouches on his hips. I like this one that I've already made here. Ooh, and then this is kind of what I was talking about earlier, of like whatever they would use, like wipe down mugs, that kind of thing. This actually simulated this piece of cloth in ZBrush. ZBrush also has a cloth sim. It does fine. That's about all I have to say about it. It's fine. I'm gonna mask the top of it and kind of pull and stretch it over itself, just like so. And then tuck it onto his belt. It's so fun as you start adding like different little like pieces to the character, it really starts to come together. And then friendly reminder, do not judge your work when it is not done. Sounds simple, but just think about it. Yeah, Voxy mentioned, yeah, just sleepy. Dude, everyone's been worn out recently. Rest up. This is a great place to do it. We're just hanging out, having a good time. No timeline. The only person that has work to get done is me. I guess not. I feel like I've just hung out and chatted with you guys before and that was fine. Alright, what's gonna make this vest look the most interesting? The first thing I need to do is make it real, because right now it's just like a hollow piece. And then I'll extrude some loops off of this. Kind of add a bit of a border. That's a bit nicer. It goes a long way. Let's kind of just add some hand stitching detail. If you spend a little bit of time looking about like how garments are sewn, it will really benefit you when you're creating stuff in ZBrush. Because like I'm using a damn sander brush to literally carve seams on, which is fine. It's not the most proper way of doing things, but because I know like how things are sewn, actually actually looks quite nice, considering how short amount of time it takes. There we go. Sean said, my students are excited to be here. Oh, y'all are still here. Hello. I'm doing my best not to swear. Okay. They are finishing first small projects and then about to start the week 2 sculptures. Oh, very cool. Man, I forget being in school. Y'all are just like on to the next thing. It is quick. Very cool. It's so interesting that you guys like have a school that teaches ZBrush. I had never even heard of it until I was in college, and even then, like I didn't learn in college. I taught myself. I would have benefited from a teacher. Because there are a lot of resources online, but there's a lot of different ways to do things, and I find, how do I put this? It's like you can find a video online, I swear, like right now on YouTube, like a 30-minute video that just shows you how to save the file. And I'm like, I don't have the patience for that, you know? I'm like, just tell me how to do it. I don't need to know the history. I don't need to know that it was created in 1996, same year I was born. I just want it to be done, you know? I'm not the best student. That's part of it, I guess. I always have learned best when I just try to like do something and then I learn tools and I look for things once I find limitations, and then I remember it a lot better. As opposed to like, oh, like here's every single tool you could be using. I'm like, I'm not gonna remember that. But if I remember like, oh, I use this brush to do fabric folds and I use this brush for skin wrinkles and that kind of stuff, I feel like I do a lot better. That's why I respect teachers so much. Like, good on you, Sean. Like, being able to teach something in a classroom setting where it's harder to be like as like a one-on-one, it's very impressive. All right, I want to give him more pecky pecks. I'm gonna reset my brush here because we have a little bit poking out here. So I'm gonna use my damn sander brush and just kind of like define these lines a little bit more. I'm going in pretty heavy-handed because the volumes already look quite nice. Yeah, that's about all it needs. Just a little bit of dude cleavage. And then we'll do the same thing for his deltoids. Kind of just defining what's already there. Oh, here's like a huge tip for y'all just to keep in mind. The bottom of your biceps, which if you don't know where that is this right here, that's your bicep. This is your deltoid. And then this is your tricep. But anyway, your biceps are like football shaped and they're weirdly flat on the bottom. Like, they're so flat. This always throws me off. Always. See, like this is where all the curve and the volume you see from the top. But on the bottom, look at that. It's flat. Weird. Obviously not like flat as a board, but relatively speaking. And then Keith's here. Hey Keith. Do you avoid taking patron requests, customer character requests that might be based on a real person? I'm thinking of my grandfather in particular, who had a storied life. I have done this before. It's just not a request I get often. Someone requested an angel and then asked me to sculpt it in resemblance to their daughter. And I have no problem doing that. Just know what you're getting. I sculpt dragons and characters for a living. I don't do portraits and face likeness. And he's gonna look kind of like this. But if your grandpa has like a particularly like a strong feature, like his nose or his cheekbones, like I'll try to incorporate that the best that I can. But it definitely won't be like, that's my grandpa. It's probably gonna be like, that's a cool character that might be my grandpa. It's gonna be more like that, just being totally honest. I do think that's very, very sweet though, and what a cool model to want. Or just like incorporate into your campaign, whether it's like an NPC or whatever. I think he'd be tickled to know that. It's really cool. His face is just not facing for me right now. Like I sculpted Thor, I'm like, he looks kind of hot. I like how this turned out. I don't know why this guy's looking like a marshmallow. Like, this is the model I made, and some of the assets are the same here. Thor, and this is printed at like 72mm scale. Like, this is epic. And like, look at his face. He's just like chiseled. Maybe I need to like literally go in with a plain brush and like, this guy's looking like a dork a little bit. Which is fine. You know, I mean, it's got a certain level of charm to it for sure. Like, do I want him to look friendly or do I want him to look chiseled? I'm like, why can't I have both? I am actually gonna go with my trim dynamic brush and straight up carve in planes of the face. I don't recommend doing this if you don't like know what you're doing, at least a little bit, because I'm gonna be destroying a lot of features that are here just to kind of figure out where these planes are, because this line, oh, that's right, his face isn't symmetrical because I goofed that up. Let's just undo you a little bit. Where did we lose that symmetry point? That's where I was painting his mouth. Alright, there are improvements being made here. He's got that little kid smile. Alright, his mouth is too small. If I make his teeth bigger, that will help. See, oh, his biceps are, because I was showing you guys that earlier. I was like, why is my gizmo over there? And I want his teeth to touch because they're going to be 3D printed and I just need these to touch. My grandfather was a world famous canoeist, if such a thing exists. That is so cool. Is this a statue of your, I assume so, but like if you're like, hey, can you sculpt this? Yeah, I'd do that. So I just run things through the filter of like, does it have some sort of tabletop use? You know what I mean? So like, I don't want to do like, obviously nothing IP specific like Darth Vader or whatever, or like a Gundam mech. That's not what I do. But anywhere in between, I have a Vikings collection, Greek mythology, all that kind of stuff. Just keep in mind, you're going to get put in the queue. You're not going to be next in line. I sculpt them oldest to newest. Like this request was put in earlier this year. I think this is a March or February request. So it's going to take a few months. You can pay for a priority ticket, but they're not cheap. If you pay for the ticket, then you would be next in line. And yeah, you joined my Discord recently, so hello, hello. That is seriously so cool though. Here we go. We were losing some of like the nasolabial folds. I have it a little high here because of the way his facial hair is. I'm gonna lower his eyebrows too. It's gonna help a little bit. There we go. That kind of helped. Having his eyebrows up here is killing me. And then Foxy says, Mia, my messages keep getting blocked for no reason on YouTube or on Discord. Because if it was on Discord, I'd be able to see it under bots. And I don't see anything in here other than Paint getting banned for saying at here. Not banned, but muted. So yes, you would have to tell me where. We should get Mia to do a settings/universe non-specific mech. I would hate that. No. That would cost $1 million. All right, we're gonna add some wraps here. I'm gonna use the curve strap snap brush again. Click and drag. And just kind of keep layering these up. If I don't like how one of them sits, I just do it again. I cannot believe how well behaved that was. Neat. I'll take it. It's looking pretty good. Looking very Tavern Keeper Barkeep. That was a request. I'm pretty proud of that. And we're just about at the end here, our Tavern Keeper's Craft, which good, because I'm getting tired. That's the second full character we did today. All right. I'm gonna call this Viking Barkeep. Keith, I want to say you were the person who said you posted a picture of Loot Studios model, right? Yes. Oh, and you are new to the Patreon. Oh, very cool. Oh, heck yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I need a Discord. All right, yeah. Dude, Loot, her models are so good. I was a little shy when you said you supported Loot. I was like, okay, not as good as Loot Studios. Yet. Give me a few years. I'm working really hard. I think I'm going to get to that level, but we're not there yet. You mentioned they give a lot of teeny details that don't print great, if not 75mm. My style is kind of similar to that too, but it looks great either way. That's kind of the beauty of it. Like again, like I have Thor here, like gigantic. This is a little bigger than 72 or 75mm scale. Maybe it's exactly. But anyhow, I like designs like this. I love Loot so much because even when you print them smaller, the tiny details do get rounded off, but it still looks great. And if you do print them like statue size, there's still so much to give, you know, it's a huge win-win. Pretty cool. I think we're gonna call this guy good. I did it. We're gonna do merge visible. Keith says, I have Thor loaded into Litchi as we speak. I'm so glad because I love that model. Turned out so good. Which is funny because when I was sculpting it, it's actually on stream, I had a hard time with that model. I don't know why, it was not doing the things. That doesn't make any sense. What am I trying to say? The design was very sensitive to get everything balanced in a way that like looked aesthetic and looked really good. So it just took me a little longer than it normally would, but so worked out. Because now it's my favorite models, like, ever. But yeah, thanks for joining the Patreon and the Discord. Happy to have you around for as long as that might be. We're a pretty friendly bunch here, so you're very welcome. Let's get a fun render on this, and it's going to wrap up today's stream. If I have any of my students that are lurking and have any questions about how to sculpt different things, now is the time to ask because I'm about to wrap up the stream. There we go. Turned out pretty nice. Alright, let's take a screenshot and record this in Discord. Smile. Excellent. Perfect. That about wraps us up. I'm going to put a Discord invite in the YouTube chat. If you're just hanging out and lurking, you're more than welcome to join. The Discord used to be Patreon exclusive, but I opened it up this year to people who watch the stream as well, and it's it's been nothing but great. So you're more than welcome to join if you would like. And that's open for really anyone who's into tabletop, 3D printing, or art in general. Pretty broad, but we all get along pretty well. That officially moves us into last call. So yes, if you have any questions, comments, concern, just kidding, I don't really care if you have a concern. If you have a question, I'm happy to answer that. Ooh, I am ready for lunch. Oh my goodness. Tuesdays always wipe me out because I usually do 2 requests. I'm like, oh, I'm tired. There we go, Foxy. Mia, but how do we make money with art? That's an ongoing joke we have on the stream here. You don't. I'm just kidding. You can. Sean says the class is very impressed with your speed and details. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Oh, I didn't show you. I forgot because you guys came in late. I need to show Sean's class, the first request we did. Where's my button? Aloha did a really lovely little like speed thing. So this is the first request we did. This was the first hour of the stream. What are you doing over there? Is that how we're gonna do this? Come here. Be in the middle of my screen, please. Good enough. We did a Lizardfolk monk. So the base mesh I already had done. Really simple. And then I started kit bashing things I have in my other, my library. But I immediately modified it because that's the beauty of having an asset library you created. I started playing the silhouette here. It's supposed to be in robes, but then you lose the digitigrade leg and it kind of boring. So I went with this like fluffy pant. Adding more details here, went with a Taverb, and then actually cut off the bottom of the shirt that made it look more like a tunic and made it like a high-waisted pant. Added more layers, looking a little more Jedi-esque, and then this is where we ended the first character. I kind of like this one a little bit better, but they've all turned out nice. This one just had a lot more, I don't know, it's just really fun. Almost forgot to do a recap on today's stream. I'm glad that I remembered. What are we doing? Move over here. There we go. Very nice. Hey, monkey. What's for lunch? Turkey leg? No. No turkey leg. Oh, goodness. Well, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Like the stream on the way out. I would super appreciate it. And that's a wrap. I plan to stream again tomorrow around noon Eastern time. That's it. That's pretty much it. Alright, y'all. You take care and I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye.